Hello, good morning, everyone. Myself, Kirtan Sangvi, working as a assistant professor in LJ Institute of Pharmacy. Today, we are talking about stereochemistry. As we all know very well, stereochemistry plays very important role to elicit biological response. Fine. So, without wasting much time, we will start with introductory aspect of stereochemistry. Today, we are going to learn mainly two topics. Number one, optical activity, and number two, a simple basics. What is the difference between chiral and achiral molecules? Let's start. Let's start without wasting much time. Fine. Now, as I have mentioned in the introduction part, today we have to discuss mainly two topics. Let's start with first chiral and achiral molecule difference. We all know very well when we talk about any structure or object, it must have its mirror images. Now what will happen if that structure is superimposable on its mirror images? The compounds are said to be achiral. But if that compound is not superimposable on its mirror images, such compounds are said to be chiral molecules. In structural aspect, if I say carbon is attached with four different substituents, such compounds are called as a chiral molecules, chiral structures. That carbon is called as a stereocenter. You can say chiral center. Now, when you talk about object aspect, if I talk about our hand, left hand and right hand, they are mirror images of each other. But if you try to superimpose, they are not superimposable on each other. It means what? These objects are said to be chiral object. Fine. If the same concept, if I talk about in case of structural aspect, let I have taken two examples here. The first example is all about 1-bromo, 1-chloromethane. It means, as I have mentioned in this structure, carbon is attached with two same substitute. Now, what will happen? Carbon is single bondedly attached. It means the structure is definitely a tetrahedral. So, if you try to fold that structure, the half of the structure is definitely superimposable on another half of the structure. And hence, here that part is called as a plane of symmetry. And if I say plane of symmetry, of course, compound becomes achiral. As we generally say, achiral molecules are always what you can say optically inactive. Why? Because the reason is very, very clear that they involve superimposability. If the compound is not superimposable on its mirror images or half the structure, any structural part is not going to superimposable on another part, the compound is of course said to be optically active. I mean to say chiral, and chirality leads to optical activity. Fine. On another structure, we have clearly mentioned 1-bromo, 1-chloro, 1-fluoromethane. The structure says that this compound is chiral because carbon is attached with four different substituents. Fine. So we can have one comment that non-superimposability is essential condition for existence of chirality. Very important. Please note down. Non-superimposability is essential condition for existence of chirality. Fine. Okay. When we talk about second important property, that is optical activity. Now, why we have to learn this property? Because we all know very well certain medicines are chiral, and because of chirality they are actually optical active. Why? Because on optical isomers, one isomer is more potent than another isomer, or else you can say one isomer is having lesser side effect than another. We have classical examples. One of the important example is cetirizine. We all know very well it is an anti-allergic drug, antihistaminic. When you talk about its levo isomer, it is more potent, rather it is having lesser side effect. Similarly, levofloxacin is the isomer of ofloxacin, levoisomer. So optical isomer we have to isolate. Fine. Many of time it may be possible that two optical isomers have different biological activity, and hence we have to isolate. Definitely. Okay, let we discuss optical activity. To study optical activity, we have to use plane polarized light. When I talk about plane of polarized light, how it is formed? When ordinary light, if you pass through the Nicol prism, you can say crystalline structure of calcium carbonate. Nowadays, instrument is used, that is polarizer, right? So when the light is passed through the polarizer, what will happen? Ordinary light whose waves are vibrating or oscillating in all the directions. Now it has been converted into the plane polarized light where waves are vibrating only in the one directions. Fine. Now this light we have to study. It has to be passed through polarimeter tube. So the instrument which is used to study optical activity, that is polarimeter. Let I show. Now, this is polarimeter tube or the instrument polarimeter, where ordinary light is converted into first plane of polarized light by passing through the polarizer. You see, waves are vibrating only in the one direction. Now, when you talk about the tube which is filled with achiral molecules, achiral means carbon is not chiral. If the tube is filled with that solution, the light straight away passes through that solution. At the end part is called as an analyzer, where we have to check whether the light is passing or not. Fine. So here the achiral molecules cannot have ability to rotate its plane, and hence such compounds are said to be optically inactive. On another case, if I talk about the chiral molecules, chiral carbons can interact with that light. If I talk about plane polarized light, it has two components, left-handed circularly polarized component and right-handed circularly polarized component. If two components are traveled through this tube, meanwhile, if chiral molecules are there, chiral centers are there, it will fight with those centers. So what will happen? One component is reaching to the light, another component still stay there. It means what? Now polarimeter, in polarimeter tube, the chiral center has changed the plane of polarized light. Fine. So chiral molecules only have ability to rotate the plane either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay. So basically there are two possibilities. Either light is rotated through clockwise or it is rotated through anti-clockwise. Let's see. So when I talk about the optical rotation, if it rotates clockwise, the isomer is called dextroisomer. If it rotates anti-clockwise, I mean to say counterclockwise, the light is said to be levo. Fine. The isomer is said to be levoisomer. How can we represent? There are three methods, dear students. Number one, you can simply mention plus sign and minus sign. Number two, you can simply mention small d and small m. And number three, you have to write dextro and levo. There are three methods. Remember one thing, optical activity is only the property which is practical phenomena. It has no any relation with the structure. Fine. If you draw the structure in a paper, on a paper, and if you say this is a dextro, this is a levo, we cannot say. Rather, we can assign the configuration, arrangement, R isomer or S isomer. Fine. Okay. One essential property which is related to the optical activity, that is rotation. Whatever the rotation we are observing through the analyzer from the polarimeter tube, that observed angle of rotation is definitely at some degree, but that observation is called as a observed angle of rotation. Dear students, it depends on 4 factors: temperature of experiment, concentration of the solution, wavelength of light, and length of polarimeter tube. If you modify all these 4 factors, the angle of rotation will be always different. It means what? It means what? We have to have a physical constant. So when you optimize the physical constant, angle of rotation is now called as a specific angle of rotation. In bracket, we have to mention alpha. Now, this alpha, the formula is like this. Alpha means observed angle of rotation. Small l means length of the sample, that is in decimeter, and C is concentration of the solution. Now, be clear, whenever we are optimizing the specific angle of rotation, it is always a constant. Fine, it is a physical constant, right? It is used as a one of the identification parameter when we talk about the study of the any research molecules are concerned. Fine. Now, when you use this formula, length must be in a decimeter. 1 decimeter equal to 10 centimeter, and concentration must be in this unit, that is gram per ml. Fine. So if you define specific rotation, it means what? It is nothing but angle of rotation when length of polarimeter tube is 1 decimeter, length is 1 decimeter, that is 10 centimeter, and C is concentration is 1 gram per ml. We have to again the optimize 2 important parameter, that is the wavelength. Fine. We have to set a particular wavelength, say for example 589 nanometer, and we have to carry out the experiment at a particular temperature, that is here I have mentioned 25 degrees Celsius. At that time, whichever the angle of rotation you observed, that is called as a specific angle of rotation, and it is a physical constant. It is used as a part of qualitative analysis. It means one of the parameter of identification of the drug molecules or new chemical entities. Fine. Thank you. So in this presentation, we have studied 2 important properties: chirality and achirality difference. Remember one thing, chirality, of course, there must be non-superimposability. And second one is optical activity, practical phenomena. This is the only one phenomena which is practical. You have to carry out the experiment. You cannot say without that. If you draw the structure and say this is optically active, we cannot say either dextro or levo. So in next presentation, we will study more properties of stereochemistry, such as a resolution of racemic mixture, stereoselective and stereospecific reactions. Fine. So these all videos are already uploaded in our YouTube channel, that is Pharma Ignite. Please do subscribe and watch and learn at home. Thank you.